welcome back to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what might be the ultimate test of human endurance. We're looking at the incredibly dramatic pursuit of victory, as one single person outlasts 455 others in a crazy, high-stakes survival competition. We're going to examine the fascinating and, honestly, kind of terrifying psychological shifts that happen when average people are pushed to their absolute limits for a massive reward. I mean, picture this. From the very moment these contestants walk into the arena, hanging directly above their heads is a literal fortune. A life-changing 456 grand just glowing there in a massive sphere. Seeing that much cash suspended in the air, it completely sets the stage for some extreme behavioral shifts. It isn't just an abstract concept anymore, right? It's right there, constantly reminding them of exactly what they are fighting for. And seeing that massive number forces us, the viewers, to ask ourselves a pretty uncomfortable question. When placed under immense pressure, with hundreds of thousands of dollars just barely out of reach, what moral lines would you cross? What friendships, what alliances would you happily break to win? Keep that in the back of your mind as we watch this whole social experiment unfold. Let's get right into it with Phase 1, the chaos of the crowd. So in this opening crucible, the sheer herd mentality of hundreds of panicked players collides head-on with these strict, unforgiving time limits. With 456 people, there is literally nowhere to hide. The desperation was palpable from the very first second the clock started. Look at this elimination drop on the table. In red light, green light, contestants faced a ticking 30-minute clock. Some were jogging, some were trapped in full squats for minutes on end, and the game makers even threw in a diabolical yellow light to catch people off guard. Boom, nearly half the crowd wiped out instantly. Then, in the fragile tension of scraping honeycomb shapes, another 90 dropped. In just a few hours, the massive crowd was cut by more than 2/3. Crazy. And contestants quickly resorted to some truly desperate tactics during that honeycomb game. When you only have 10 minutes to carve a perfect shape out of brittle sugar without breaking it, pure panic sets in. We saw people frantically scraping with needles, ending up accidentally snapping their cookie right in half. The dramatic pursuit of victory got so intense that one player actually smuggled in a hidden lighter to melt the sugar. It just shows that survival in this crucible often requires, breaking the mold entirely. Moving on to Phase 2, brute force and team dynamics. With the crowd significantly thinned out and a lot of the weaker players eliminated, the remaining contestants were actually offered a buyout to leave. But the ones who stayed, they were in it to win it. They were forced to form factions of 10, shifting the vibe entirely from individual chaotic panic into this brutal, calculated group dynamic. As they geared up for tug-of-war, this harsh quote really captures the new reality: sorry, no girls allowed. Just like that, empathy evaporated. When players realized their literal survival depended on pulling a rope over a massive foam pit, they abandoned inclusive strategy for pure brawn. They ruthlessly recruited the biggest, strongest people they could find, leaving basic social pleasantries completely in the dust. The physical desperation to win reached absolutely extreme peaks here. In the matchup between Team 9 and Team 11, these contestants were pulling with such ferocious, panicked energy, digging their heels right at the edge of elimination, that they literally snapped the reinforced tug-of-war set. Seriously, think about the raw adrenaline required for a group of average people to break a heavily constructed game set just to stay in the running for the money. Which brings us to Phase 3, betraying your best friend. But look, brute physical force cannot prepare you for emotional devastation. Up to this point, contestants could at least rely on each other, right? But the organizers engineered a harrowing twist, pulling the rug out from under them in the most painful way imaginable. Throughout the entire challenge, they've been monitoring who interacted the most. When it came time to pick partners, they didn't just let players choose blindly. No, they forced best friends and even real-world roommates to partner up. The brutal catch? You have to agree on a game, and the winner survives while eliminating their best friend. This heartbreaking realization from one contestant, saying we promised each other we were not going to screw each other over, it highlights the crushing psychological toll of this phase. Imagine looking at your best friend and realizing one of you is going home empty-handed. We saw players tossing marbles at bricks, playing these agonizing games of closest to the wall. Some were so paralyzed by the emotional weight that they literally left their fate and $500,000 up to a simple coin flip. Tails, you win. Heads, your best friend is eliminated. That leads right into Phase 4, taking a leap of faith. After a frenzied, chaotic game of Dokji, where players literally threw paper squares on the ground, trying to flip them just to secure the top 16 spots, the survivors faced an entirely new type of obstacle. They went from emotional heartbreak straight to paralyzing, isolating fear in the Glass Bridge Challenge. The terrified contestants, assigned to numbers 1 through 16, were placed in front of a bridge made of alternating safe and breakable platforms. They were completely paralyzed by this exact dilemma. Choice A, take a blind leap with a 50-50 chance of a terrifying drop into a pit. Or choice B, completely freeze, refuse to move, and face absolute 100% elimination when the 13-minute timer hits 0. As that 13-minute clock ticked down, the first players boldly took the leap, but they were quickly eliminated. By the 8-minute mark, the frontrunners simply stalled out. They point-blank refused to move, trying to force the others to pass them. At 3 minutes, sheer panic ensued. Contestants in the back realized they wouldn't make it and started screaming for people to jump. And the most shocking part? When the clock hit 0, the total breakdown in cooperation meant 4 players, numbers 16, 8, 13, and 5, were stubbornly standing on the platforms and were instantly eliminated for stalling. Just brutal. And finally, Phase 5, the ultimate winner. After surviving profound physical exhaustion, heartbreaking betrayal, and pure paralyzing terror, the final 6 were treated to a brief, incredibly tense steak dinner, eaten with plastic knives, of course, for safety. The trash talk flowed, with players claiming they wouldn't fold under pressure, all before facing the ultimate chaotic showdown. Now, the attrition rate at this point is staggering. Out of the massive initial crowd of 456 highly motivated people, only a minuscule sliver of a fraction remained to fight for the ultimate prize. 455 eliminated, just 1 winner taking home all the cash. The statistical odds of making it this far are just mind-bending. So the crucial point here is that the final trial wasn't some complex puzzle or a test of extreme athletic endurance. Because they weren't playing the traditional Squid Game, they played a simple childhood game of musical chairs. But the rules were strict. Keep circling, no hovering, and secure a seat instantly when a blindfolded referee stops the music. This brilliant twist stripped away all previous strategy and alliances, leaving everything up to paranoia, sheer exhaustion, and blind luck. In those final, agonizing minutes, the tension was unbearable. Players hovered, accused each other of teaming up and plotting, and fought bitterly over a single chair. But when that ominous music finally stopped for the very last time, player 079 fought through the utter chaos, threw himself into the last seat, and successfully claimed the historic, life-changing reward of $456,000.
We've seen the herd panic, the brutal team exclusions, the betrayal of best friends, and the paralyzing fear of the bridge. The dramatic pursuit of victory pushed these people to the absolute edge of human behavior. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. Knowing the immense psychological gauntlet required, the friendships tested, and the sheer blind luck needed to survive this crucible, if you were given the chance right now, would you ever step up to the starting line? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.